Okay, welcome back. Yesterday we started 11:30. Just introduction day one. That was the day one of the class. Yesterday we have seen, and yesterday we have just little bit seen the instructions that we need to understand Java backend engineers. The course name is Java backend engineer. So why it is called as backend engineer? Because with the help of this you are going to develop web application. So sometime people may also call you web developer also, or Java backend engineer also. So you can develop web applications. Web application developer we call it as, not website, we call it as web application developer, right? So application developer also people will call, or application development engineer also. So to understand this course, you need to understand, you need to have basic English, intermediate, not very fluent, but the basic English is sufficient, and you should have basics of computer also. So how you should use computer, what are the different types of applications we have. Then you don't need any programming background to understand this course. It is not compulsory to know C or C++. If you have understanding of C or C++, it is a plus point, right? Then there is a myth that this is very difficult programming language, Java or any programming, it is difficult. So it is not difficult. It is difficult for those who do not understand the concept properly. If you understand concepts properly, it is very easy, right? Now, how to learn any concept properly, that also we have seen. So every concept or any topic you are learning, try to ask these questions: what it is, why do we use it, how to use it, when to use it, and which is the best time to use it. So there are some, try to ask questions, try to ask question. If these questions you are able to answer, then you understood the concept, right? The duration of this course, I told you that this course contains core Java, advanced Java, you will have mini projects, development tools and frameworks. So technical training part will be of 300 plus hours, right? Along with that, you will have lot of quizzes, you will have mocks, you will have presentations, resume building, aptitude sessions, interview preparation, grooming sessions. That is around 120 plus hours. So that is close to 400 hours of efforts from my side, right? And from your side, you need to put in maybe same amount, let's say 400 into twice. So you can put in 800 hours. That is 12 hours, 1200 hours of a duration. The course duration will take 4 to 6 months of time every day, Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday. Mostly we have covered sessions for last batch Monday to Saturday. Daily 2 hours class, right? So that it will complete it. So content, technical content we have seen. What is the roadmap that you should take up? So first you should learn core Java. As part of this course you will learn core Java, that is Java 8 version, which was released in 2014. Now what is the current version of Java? Java 20, which was released in March 23, 22 March, 22nd March 23, that was the date. Then once we learn the core Java, next you are going to learn advanced Java, then you will learn development tools, then you will learn frameworks. So what are things we have to learn in the core Java that is very much important, that we have seen. So we'll start with the introduction to computers, what is program, what is software, what is programming language, that we will understand today. Then once we complete that, then second session we will understand what is JDK, JRE, JVM. Then setup of Java, how to do the setup of Java, that also we will see. Then once we know how to compile or how to write the Java programs, how to check if they are correct or not, then once they are correct, how to run that. So once that is done, we'll understand the structure of that particular hello world program. So what are components are there, what is the meaning of that. So we'll try to understand that program. Once we do that, we'll understand variable and data type. So variables are used to store the data in the program. So if you want to store some data while executing the application or running the application, that you can store with the help of variable. Now the data will be of different type. Data will be of different type, right? Data will be different type. So that we understand with the help of data types. That we understand with the help of data types. So what are the different types of data types are available, that we will also learn. Then what is identifier? Once we know that, then we will try to understand how to manipulate with the numbers or the data with the help of operators. So we'll learn close to 11 operators, types of operators. Then once we know that, then we will understand control statements. Then we have three categories of control statements. Conditional statements, if else switch, we will understand. Then looping statement, we have again for loop, while loop, do while, enhance for loop. Then we will learn transfer statements. In that you will understand what do you mean by break, continue, return, how to use that, what is the use, how to implement that in the use. So that also we'll see. Then very important, class and object. Without this, your entire Java knowledge or any object-oriented programming knowledge is half. So we will have very detailed discussion on the class and object, what is class, what is object, that we will have understanding. Then we will have the understanding of JVM architecture, how JVM is designed and everything. We will understand what are the different components are there, that we will understand. Then once that is done, we will understand the class components. Means in a Java we have a class, inside the class we have different components. So all that components, what all components we can write, that we will understand thoroughly, each and every aspect of that. So what are the components we have? We have variables. Then we will understand what is local variable, instance variable, static variable. Once that is done, we will understand methods, what are different types of methods, what are constructor, what are their types. Blocks, we will understand what is block, what are different types. Nested classes also have different types. All these types we will understand. This keyword we will look into. Then we will see access specifiers also, public, private, protected, default. Then once that is done, we will understand OOPS, what is encapsulation, how to use that, what is that. All these basic questions we will cover up. Inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. In that abstract class, inheritance, this part is very much important. Without that, you cannot survive in the IT as a developer. Then as a developer, it is must to know Java 8 concept also, what the Java 8 features we will be learning. So we'll learn what are functional interfaces, what are default methods, what are static methods, what is lambda expression, then what is method reference. All these concepts we will learn once we know the OOPS. So to learn Java 8 features, these features you should know all these things. Then only you will be able to understand this. Tick. Then once that is done, object class we will learn there are 11 methods inside this class. Each method is an interview question. So we will look into all the methods of that class. Then array we will learn. Most of the product companies or any company hiring test, they will have the programs. Most of the programs will be from this area, array. So we will do a lot of practice on this area also. Then once we know this array, then we will practice on the string handling also. This is also a very detailed topic. We will understand this also. Then once exception handling, with the help of that we can avoid the abnormal termination of the program. So there might be some mistakes, they will be coming up. So how to handle that, we will understand that with the help of exception handling. Then very important for the multi-threaded applications, multi-threading. What is multi-threading, what is thread, what do you mean by creating threads? We will see all the things inside this topic. This is also very important. Then collection framework, for every developer should know this. So we will understand what is collection framework. It will take again close to 20 hours to complete this. This is a very important framework. This everyone should be able to understand. Then lastly we will cover file handling, and there are some miscellaneous topics such as enums, then we have annotations, then we will have regular expressions or some other Java 8 features also will add it. So there are some miscellaneous topics that also will be adding inside this. So once we know this foundation, solid foundation, most of the interviews you can crack with this knowledge only. Core Java. If you know core Java, you can able to crack most of the good companies. The reason is, if you are strong with core Java, you can learn the rest of the things yourself. Advanced Java frameworks you can learn by yourself only, right? So mini projects, will have different mini projects. What are the mini projects we will have? Email validator, password validator. These applications also will develop with the help of core Java also. Then once we know that, then we will learn advanced Java. Inside the advanced Java, we will learn JDBC, Servlet, JSP, MVC and mini projects. This is the content of your advanced Java. This will again take 60 to 70 hours, close to 60 hours. Then these are the tools that you will learn. Development tools. These are something tools which will be developing applications with the help of these tools. So these tools you will use on day-to-day basis once you start working as a developer in the companies. So this is very much important also, right? So this is kind of a day-to-day activities. मतलब हर दिन आप इसको यूज करोगे, every day you will use this, right? Then once we know this core Java, advanced Java, some tools, and then you are ready to learn frameworks. So frameworks also will be starting with Hibernate. Once that is complete, then we'll learn Spring also. And inside the Spring, we have these many modules: Spring Core, MVC, AOP, JDBC, Data JPA, REST, Boot, and Actuators. So these everything consists of Spring. And then finally, we will complete your capstone project, which is equivalent to the industry standard project that we will be developing. Right? So this is the content of this particular course that we have seen yesterday, and this is day today. We will be starting with so this was something yesterday we have seen the quick overview of the particular course, and today we will be starting with the topic Introduction to Computers, Programs, Software, Programming Language, and then we will see Java. Finally, at the end, we will see what is Java. This is our agenda for the today's session. Online, all of you are able to see my screen audible, right? Okay, no worries. So we'll start with this introduction part, where you'll understand the little bit introduction about your computer, how computer and softwares are related, how applications are related, what is programming language, what is Java. That be questions we will cut today, step by step. Okay, let's talk about computer. So computer word is derived from the word called as compute. This is very simple. Compute. Compute means calculation. Compute means calculations. So doing, is it for everyone or it is only for specific to you? Audible, right? Can you check once? It is not for anyone? No? Just a second. My bad. No problem. So I was on mute. Don't worry, we haven't missed lot of content. We have just seen the what we have seen yesterday. Okay, my bad. It was on mute. Someone should have informed me. Okay, no problem. That's fine. So I was on mute. So till now you haven't missed anything. So we have just covered what we have seen yesterday. So we have just seen the revision of yesterday, what the content. So in this first part, 10-15 minutes, we have just seen what is the content that we are going to cover. Now let's talk about what we are going to cover. We are going to cover this introduction part, where you learn introduction to what is computer, what is program, what is software, what is programming language, that we will understand. Okay, and finally we will see what is Java. Fair enough, right? So computer, first word we are trying to understand. Computer means compute. So it is a machine, it is an electronic machine which is used to do computation. What it is? It is an electronic machine, which machine or a device which is used to do the calculations. right? Compute means doing the calculation. So computer works on this simple rule. So it will work on the input, process and output. So it works on a very simple rule. We give some input, it will process that and it will give some output. Since it is an electronic device, so it understands only one language, that is language of current. It is an electronic device, so it understands only language of current. So language of current means either it will be present or it will be not present. So presence of current we represent as on, as 1, and absence of current that we represent as 0. So you must have heard that computer understands only binary language. So binary language, it is a number system which contains only 2 digits. Binary means 2 digits. So see carefully, binary number system, it is binary number system which contains only 2 digits. What are the 2 digits? We have 0 and 1. Octal number system, we have how many digits? We have octal number system. This number system has 8 digits. How many? 8 digits. These are 0 to, these are the 8 digits we have. So similarly we have hexadecimal also. Before that we have decimal number system. So how many digits we have? We have 10 digits. We have 10 digits. They are starting from 0 to 9. Similarly then we have hexadecimal also. Hexadecimal number system. In this we have 16 digits. We have 16 digits. Right? So 0 to 9 and then A till H. 6. 9 plus 6 F. So these are the number system. So computer understands, we can think of 0 and 1. So based on the number of digits, the number system forms. So binary number system contains 2 digits, that is called as 0 and 1. So that's the reason we call it as computer understands binary language, binary number system, binary language. So what it means is, when you have a presence of current in the machine, we call it as on, and when there is absence of current, we call it as off, that is 0. So in short, we can say computer understands the language of current, either presence or absence. So in that language only we have to give the instruction to the computer. So initially when computer invented, now let's say you want to give some instruction to the computer. So why we are giving instruction to the computer? To do the calculations. So to do the calculation, we can also do the calculations, yes or no? But if I do the calculation, what is the problem manually? There is a high chance that you will make mistakes, and it is time taking process. It is a time taking process. So you want to get the task done from the computer. You want to get the task done from the computer. So the problem with manual efforts is that it is time taking process, and there is a high chance that you will make a mistake. You will make a mistake. So to avoid that mistakes and make this process very clear cut and less time consuming, we are trying to get the help of computer. Now if you want to take help of computer to do some certain tasks, so what is the language that you used to use initially? Binary language. So you want to get the work done from the computer, you will tell that do this. What was the language? That was the binary language. That is also called as machine language, also we call it as. So when computer was invented, 1939 around. Who was the inventor? Charles Babbage. Charles Babbage was the inventor. So that time mostly the computer instructions was given in binary language. What was the language? Binary language. That is also called as low level language, also we call it as. Or also this is also called as machine level language. Machine level language. Why it is called as machine level? Because this is directly understood by machine. That's why it is called as machine level language. So all the instructions whatever given to the computer to do certain calculations or to get some task done were done in zeros and ones. So all the instructions whatever the programmer used to write the code or the instructions that were written only in plain 0 and 1. But the instructions very fast, instructions very fast. Now till now you understood what we are trying to understand. Computer is helping us to do the calculations. So to do the calculation we have to tell the instruction to the computer. So these instructions given to the computer is nothing but a programming. So instructions given to the computer. So the language in which we give the instruction to the computer. What is program first of all? So program is nothing but set of instructions given to the computer to get some task done, Now tasks can be addition of two numbers, subtraction of two numbers, or anything. The task can be anything. So that instructions given to the computer to get some task done, it is called as program. Now when you combine multiple programs, small tasks together, we get a meaningful software. So what is software? Group of multiple programs. What is software? Group of multiple programs. When you combine up, now take a example of calculator. Now calculator has multiple tasks, addition of two numbers, multiplication, division, subtraction. When you combine these multiple tasks together, you get a meaningful software. Able to understand this? So when you combine multiple programs together, we form a software, right? So what do you mean by programming? What do you mean by programming? So if you know the word program and software, now you'll understand what do you mean by programming. Writing instructions or giving instruction to the computer to get the task done. What is programming? Writing instructions to whom? To the computer to get some task done. So as a programmer or as a software developer, now as a programmer what you are going to do? As a programmer you are going to write instructions which will help you to get the task done from the computer. Now there might be tasks, can be any number of tasks. Tasks can be very small, tasks can be very big also. Yes or no? So programming is nothing but an art of writing instructions to the computer so that you get some tasks get done from the computer. What is the use of programming? With the help of programming, what you are going to do? You are going to develop the softwares or develop the programs. When you combine multiple small programs, when you combine that, we get a meaningful software. So what is the meaning of program? What is the meaning of software? What do we mean by programming? Are you able to understand? Programming means giving instructions or writing instruction to the computer so that you get some task done. Now task can be very simple, task can be very big also. Yes or no? So task can be very simple, task can be very big also. So getting that task done from the computer, it is called as programming. Able to understand this much? Program, software, programming. Now what is programming language? What is programming language? Try to understand this. Now if you understand program, what is software, what is programming language? Very simple. Now what I am doing right now, I am doing a communication with you guys. I am giving instruction to you guys. I am giving the instructions to you guys. So what is the language that I am using to give instructions? English. Now what is English? It's a spoken language using which we can communicate the instructions. We can communicate. So what is programming language? Perfect. It is a language using which we can write the instructions which are understood by the computer. So I am talking to you, right? I am giving some instruction to you. I am communicating with you guys. So what language I use? I am using English. So similarly, programmer wants to communicate with the computer. So what is the language they will use? Some language they will use. So that language is called as programming language. अभी मैं आपसे हिंदी में बात कर सकता हूँ, इंग्लिश में बात कर सकता हूँ, मराठी में बात कर सकता हूँ. What are these Marathi, Hindi, English? These are different languages using which you can communicate, right? So similarly, programming language, it is a language using which programmer can give instructions to the computer. It is a language using which programmer can give instruction to the computer so that we can get the task done. Simple. What do you mean by programming language? What is program? What is software? Able to understand? Okay. Now let's try to understand software development. So you tell me, what do you mean by software development? What software development guys does? What they do? They develop softwares. What do you mean by developing the softwares? They develop multiple programs. What do you mean by developing multiple programs? They develop a single program. What do you mean by developing a single program? They develop a program means they are writing instructions to get the some task done with the help of computer. Able to understand? What is program? Set of instructions which are given to the program to the computer to get the some task done. What is programming? Giving instruction to the computer. What is programming language? It is a language which is used by the computer, by the programmer to communicate with the computer to understand some instructions that we are passing, right? Then what is software development? Developing softwares. Developing softwares means writing some instructions. When you combine multiple programs, we get a software. Now at the core, software development is nothing but writing instructions which are helpful to get some task done with the help of computer. Able to understand this much? What is programming? What is software development? What are the softwares? Able to understand? Okay. Now initially, the programming language that was used was binary language. So whatever the language we were using to communicate with the computer was, what was the programming language? The binary language. So initially instructions were given in binary language. Okay, so all the instructions were written in zeros and ones. If you want to get some task done from the computer, you will write the instructions in zeros and ones. Able to understand? Till this point, we want to do some calculation. For that purpose, we are giving instructions, means we are writing program, so which will get the task done from the computer. So what was the programming language that was used earlier when computer was invented? Binary language was the initial programming language that was used. Okay, now you are already aware that there are multiple programming languages in the market: C, C++, C#, PHP, Python. Why we have these many programming languages when we had the binary language? So every time it is human tendency that whenever he gets some discomfort, he tries to find some comfort. So there was some discomfort, there was some problems were faced in the programming that was used, that is binary number system, that was binary program. So what is the problem? What are the problems? What are the problems associated with binary language? So number one problem, if you want to write the code in binary language, you need to have complete understanding of the hardware of the machine. That computer hardware information you should have. Then only you can write the instructions. That was the main problem. So let's say I ask you today, if you want to learn Java, you should know entire mathematics of from first standard to engineering mathematics. You should know everything. Then how many people will learn programming? Very few people. कितने सारे लोग आएंगे? एक बंदा, 100 में से एक बंदा आएगा बस. 100 में से एक बंदा आएगा. तो वैसे ही मुझे बताओ बाइनरी लैंग्वेज में कोड लिखने वाले कितने सारे बंदे रहेंगे? बहुत सारे कम, बहुत कम मतलब बहुत कम. सो टू राइट कोड, और कोड मतलब प्रोग्राम लिखना, कोड मतलब क्या, कोडिंग करना मतलब इंस्ट्रक्शंस करना. दीज आर द डिफरेंट नेम्स. टू राइट कोड इन बाइनरी लैंग्वेज, machine hardware understanding was must. Machine hardware understanding was must. So how many ports are there, how many, like all the hardware information the programmer was supposed to know. So it is difficult. So it is difficult to write. Difficult to write. It is difficult, very difficult. After some time you will not see the difference between 0 and 1. So there is lot of chance that you will make mistakes. There is a lot of chance that you will make mistakes, because if you replace 1 with 0, your entire logic is changed. So this is error prone code. Means there is a lot of chance that you will make mistakes. There is a lot of chance that you will make mistakes. Then maintenance. Now let's say you develop the software. Now tomorrow you want to add new feature into that, or you want to modify some feature into that. So it is very difficult to modify the code or maintain the code or add new feature or remove any existing feature. So that was very difficult, because first of all you have to go through entire code base. So that code is also already very difficult to understand. So what was the problem? Maintenance is difficult. Maintenance is difficult. And it is time taking process. Time taking process. These are the problems. There the list of problems will go and go. List of problems will go and go. So to overcome these problems, you have to the readability of the code is completely zero. So it is less readable code, less readability code. So it is very difficult. It is very difficult to read that code also. Right? It is very difficult to read that code. So if new person joins the team, he will not understand what the earlier person has written. So there were some these problems. Because of that, people decided that let's develop something that will reduce our efforts of writing the instructions. It will reduce your instruction writing efforts. So what was the problem? These were the problems, right? Now to overcome this problem, people decided to develop one programming language that was called as assembly language. This is also called as middle level programming language. Middle level programming language. So in this programming language, what they did, instead of using plain zeros and ones, what they did, they introduced something called as mnemonics. Mnemonics means, so let's say you want to do addition of two numbers. They said they introduced some English like words. Mnemonics are nothing but, that is nothing but English like words. What are mnemonics? English like words. English like words. So if you want to add two numbers, you will say add number 1 and number 2, or you will say add 10 and 20. So these are English like words, but these instructions are readable for the developer. These instructions are readable to the developer, but these instructions cannot be read directly by the computer. What happens? Now there is a need that what you have to do. Now you have written instructions into what programming language? Assembly language. You have written instruction into assembly. Now these are English like code. Now these instructions are not directly understood by the computer. So computer understand which language only? Zeros and ones. Now these instructions are understood by the computer, zeros and ones. But this assembly language code is not directly understood by the computer, so they introduce something called as assembler. What is this called as? Assembler. So assembler, what it does? It converts these English like words into zeros and ones. Now this is why it is introduced, because this is easy for developer. Easy for developer. This is easy for developer to actually write the code. They will write the instructions in this. Now these instructions will be converted into zeros and ones with the help of assembler, and then these instructions are understood by the computer. Again, this language was easy as compared to the binary, but there were certain again problem with this. What are the problems? Again, you need to have system understanding. System hardware understanding was still mandatory. System hardware understanding was still mandatory if you want to write this. How many ports are there, how many registers are there, everything you should know to write the code in this. So again, what happened? This is also again difficult to write program. This was again difficult to write programs. So it is a human tendency. Every then and there they will try to invent something. So there were again some issues with this. So what happened in this case? What are the steps? Write code in assembly language, then convert assembly language code into binary with the help of assembler. So what is the job of assembler? Take assembly language as an input and produce binary code. So convert assembly language code into binary with the help of assembler, and then execute binary code. Then execute the binary code. That was the instructions. Now again, to understand or to write the code in assembly also, the developer must know some system hardware also. This was again difficult, even though it was easy as compared to binary, but लेकिन इतना भी easy नहीं था कि कोई भी उठ के उसमें कोड करे. ये फिर भी difficulty था. Even if you remember your college days, you know that writing code in assembly, it is not that easy. You need to have a lot of code programming. There are a lot of things you have to understand. That is very difficult to write the code into that assembly also. So to overcome this issue, because that was the time where everyone wanted to develop their softwares. Banks were in a need that they want to automate everything. They want to automate the interest calculation, bank account details automation they wanted. Everyone wanted this. So they wanted to have some other programming language so that they can develop the softwares faster and faster. Now today also every bank wants something new to be developed, to reduce the human efforts. Every bank want to try to do that. So before computers, every bank was maintaining the physical records. Every calculation was manual only. So there was a chance of lot of manual errors also, mistakes also. Now every company wanted software to be developed faster and faster. But this was not possible with binary and assembly. You had a lot of requirement for the softwares, but you are not able to generate the softwares faster and faster. So you need to have something better solution so that you can develop the softwares very fastly and very accurately also. So this was a need of ours, that we wanted something which will help us to develop the softwares faster and faster. So it was very slow development process with the help of binary also and assembly also. It was very slow process. So they wanted to have something very faster. So there was again development of high level programming language. So there are the third category of languages were developed, that are called as high level programming languages, such as C, C++, C#, Java, and so on, Python also. So eventually 1971, 1972 around C, then 1978 C++, again C# was on into that time only, then Java 1990 around that time only. So over the time they tried to reduce the developer effort so that he can develop the softwares faster and faster. Right? So why these are many programming languages are available in the market? Because they are trying to reduce the developer efforts and making the software very secure, faster, which will take less memory, which will need less power. There were the instructions, right? Okay, just to Take a pause for the questions or queries you have. Till now, any questions, any queries? So what all things we have covered so far? Can someone just summarize? Sagar, can you please summarize what we have seen last 20 minutes? Yeah, we'll come to that. Sorry? Yes, Krunal. What is computer? Okay. Okay, what is computer? Yes. Correct. 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 And which made the software development very faster and easy experience for the development. Yes. So why it understands zeros and ones? Because so 0 and 1s are nothing but the current representation. Presence of current we call it as 1 and absence of current we call it as 0. So machine understands language of current only. Yes. Yes. So because that will not change. Why that will not change? Because the machine understand only electronic. This is an electronic device, so it will understand the language of zeros and ones. So this is running on the electricity, so it understand that language only. If you see sometime hardware, what is this? It runs on electricity, so that will not change. What will change? The other programming language, which will reduce your efforts. So we can have the converters in place, which will convert your high level language code into binary. Converters we can develop, but what we cannot change is zeros and ones. That will not change. So that's why we have multiple programming languages. So why we have multiple programming languages? Every programming language claims that they will reduce the developer efforts. With the help of that programming language, you can develop greater and greater easy software development. Now you have Python also, Java also. There are a lot many programming languages. So that will not change. Binary content will not change. Other programming languages will change. We'll have different and different languages. But what will not change is zeros and ones. What is program, Rahul? What is program? Set of instructions, set of guidelines given to the computer to do some task. What is software? When you combine multiple programs, we get a software. What is programming? Giving instructions to the computer. That is programming. What is programming language? We are writing instructions which are given to the computer to get the task. So instructions which are given into that language, it is nothing but programming language. Now we have different programming language, binary programming language we have, assembly language we have. So there were a couple of problems with the binary because we were directly writing there is one advantage of binary. What is that? It is directly understood by the computer. There is no middleman, there is no translator required for that. So it is faster. It is faster for execution. Then there were a lot of issues with the binary. Writing code was difficult, maintenance is difficult, it is less readable, and if you want to develop software, you need to have understanding of the machine hardware also. Then only you can develop. Then later on we switched to, we try to implement something that will reduce the developer efforts. So people introduce assembly language. So in assembly language, we started using small English words instead of zeros and ones. Let's say add number 1, number 2, multiply number 1, number 2. Like this, they introduce mnemonics. So because of that, you further reduce the human efforts of the software development. But again, this was not that so simple. It was still having a lot of efforts. So people try to Now I will tell you one use case. Now initially your Linux operating system in 1965, who was the inventor of Linux? Dennis Ritchie, right? Who is the inventor of Linux or Unix? So C programming inventor Dennis Ritchie. What happened? He was in final year student, Stephenson University. I am not sure which university, but he was developing the Unix operating system. Initially, it was developed in the assembly language. It was initially developed in the assembly language, but it was taking a lot of time to write the code. So what he thought, let's simplify the code writing process or software development. So he paused the development. So initially he developed the entire Unix operating system in assembly. Later on he developed C programming because he wanted to add more and more feature to the operating system, but he was not able to do that because it was time taking process with the help of assembly. Then he introduced or he developed a programming language that is called as C programming, and then he has rewritten entire as this Unix into C programming language. So why people are doing this? Because they wanted to faster the development process. That's the reason high level programming languages were introduced. So C was that one of the outcome of the Unix operating system, right? Then we have lot many programming languages, C, C++. C was invented around 1970, that time only. Then C++ 1978 and Java 1990. So what was the main target? Why Java was introduced? Now by now you understood what is Java. You understood what is Java, right? What is Java? Let's try to understand. It is a high level programming language using which we can develop programs and softwares which will help us get some tasks done from the computer. Simple, it is high level programming language. So writing softwares is ease with Java. So now you know that C, C++ were earlier there present before Java. C was present from 1970, C++ is around from 1978. Almost 10 years there were two programming languages. Almost till 1990 we were having C++ era we had. Everyone is developing the software with the help of that only. What was the problem that people were facing? People means developers were facing. So that they wanted to have something new. So what is Java people? Now what is Java you understood, right? What is Java? It is just a high level programming language using which we can write the softwares or we can write the programs. It is a high level programming language, means it is easily readable. It is a plain English like words you will have in the Java. Yes. By looking at, you can read that. Yes. Yes. So there are converters we have. Yes. So first of all, Java program we compile. Compile means we check is there any error, is there any mistake. If there is no mistake, then that Java program is converted into a intermediate form. It is not low level, it is just a intermediate, just a conversion. That is into .class file, that is we call it as bytecode. It is just some semantic conversion. Now that .class file, which is intermediate code, which is directly not understood by the machine, then that intermediate code is given to a software called as JVM or a JRE. Now this is a software developed by Java people. So what that software does, that takes this .class file and generates a machine specific zeros and ones which are understood by that underlying machine. So every machine, Windows machine needs different zeros and ones, Mac machine needs different set of zeros and ones, Linux machine needs different set of zeros and ones. So we need different. Now I will tell you a simple example. Now you download VLC media player for different machines. For Windows we have .exe, for Linux we have .bin, for Mac we have .dmg. So why we have these different executables? Because we need different set of zeros and ones. Executables are nothing but set of zeros and ones. So we need different set of zeros and ones which are understood by the different machines. So similarly, we need different softwares which will generate different zeros and ones. So we have a component called as JRE, which is platform specific, means operating system specific. We'll come to that. What is platform? that process will come back to. So till now, what is Java? We'll just understand that it is a high level programming language using which we can develop the softwares, right? Or we can develop the programs, and which will help us to get some tasks done from the computer. So okay, so just come back to the one question. We had C and C++ also. So why Java was developed? What was the reason? Yes, there were some difficulties. Some of the difficulties were present in C and C++. So what are the some common difficulties were there in the Java, in C++, difficulties which were there. So syntax, there were a lot of complex concepts in C and C++. So code is simplified in Java. So simplified means there were some lot of complex concepts were there in C and C++, such as pointers. Then there are virtual functions. Then are operator overloading. There are many concepts. I will simply tell complex concepts. Complex concepts from C, C++ were removed, such as pointers, virtual functions, operator overloading were removed. In Java, these are removed. Okay, this is just a very ground level answer. But what is the commercial answer? Commercially, so every programming language is developed by the people to generate some money only, to develop. Now everyone is looking for the avenues to generate some money. So what was this problem? So who developed the Java? Who developed the Java? We'll come to the features. The Java was developed by, Java is developed by James. So it is developed by a company called as Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems, and later acquired by Oracle. It is later acquired by Oracle. Now at Sun Microsystems, it is a company. So there are a couple of people. So there was a team. So at Sun Microsystems, at Sun, I will just write Sun at Sun Microsystems. So there was a team. The team name was Green Team. What is the team name? Just like any team, we have a name. In that company, they had a team. The name of the team was Green Team. And in that team, there were a couple of 20 developers. The team was developed by, the team is around 20-25 people. And there was one guy called as James Gosling. And there were some other couple of leads, James Gosling. So that team was led by James Gosling. And there were some couple of other developers were also. So what these guys were doing? These guys were developing a programming language. So this is a company, commercial company. Now they had a team, and this team is working on development of programming language. So this team was developing, what was their task? Development of programming language. So this team was what was their day-to-day activities? They were developing the programming language. So earlier they started working on the development of the programming language. So they initiated a name. Now they initially thought they will give a name. What was the name they thought? Name of the programming language. So they thought, let's give some name to this programming language, whatever they are developing. So they thought we will give a name as Oak. Oak was the name given to initial the programming language project. So what this team was working, what is the company? Sun Microsystem. This company is later acquired by the Oracle, but initially at Sun Microsystem there were a couple of members in a team. The team name was Green Team, and that team was led by the James Gosling. So what that team was doing, that team was developing the programming language. So they initially thought, let's give name to this programming language. So what was the name given? Oak. Name was given as Oak. So but that oak is nothing but a big wooden tree. Wood tree we call it as, banyan tree. It is a very big tree. So that because of that they give name. But this name was registered by someone else. Already registered by someone else. Already registered by someone else. Someone else. Now then what they do? They later change the name from Oak to Java. So is there any short form, full form of the Java? There is no as such full form or something. Don't try to J for James Gosling. Don't do that. It is not that. So Java does not have any full form. Java is just a name. What is the name? Java, you can think of type of a coffee. Type of coffee. It is a type of a coffee that is found in Indonesia, jungles of Indonesia. So there is no long form, there is no story behind this. Just they given a name, that's it. There is no story behind that. Okay. So what was this programming language? So what was they were trying to do? So they have developed this for some reason only. So in 1990, there was an era of electronic consumer devices. Example, washing machines, refrigerators, AC, TV remotes, and all these devices needed some kind of programming language to write some softwares. So when you press remotes, there is some programming happening on the device also, right? So they wanted to have some programming language which will use to program these devices. So that time what was happening, using C and C++, for every device they need to write different instructions. What was happening? Let's say I have 10 different devices for 10 different. Now there are 10 companies that produce lot of devices. So for every device they wanted to have different set of instructions. So every time they have to rewrite the code for every machine. So that was causing the issue, right? And the programs that were written earlier, it was C, C++, I think that time. So programs which are written using that, what was used to happen was that software is very bulky. Because of that, the devices were not working properly. So they wanted to have something which will reduce their efforts, so that the devices can be programmed in a very faster and simpler fashion, right? Now, if you are trying to program the devices, so they had three like self-explanatory agenda. So what was their target? Program these devices in a simpler and efficient way, so that these devices are very faster. These devices very faster. That was their agenda. Okay. So there were three major agenda they had. What were the requirements they had? You can think of agenda. What was the agenda of that programming language? So they wanted to have a programming language using which we can develop the softwares. Okay. So that software should take less memory. What I'm talking about? If you are trying to program this remote, and once you write the program using Java, and that software, if you run that, it should take less memory. So what they wanted to have? Less memory. Then you need to have less power consumption also. If I use this remote for one day and if it is completing or it is draining my entire remote battery, what will happen? You will not use that. So you should have a software using which your battery cells will not drain very fast. So they wanted to have something which will need less memory, because these are very small devices. So they wanted to have something which will need less memory. So less memory consumption. बढ़ाओ एक बार इसको, बढ़ा दिया मैंने लेकिन. So agenda was less memory consumption, less power consumption, and third, so less time consumption. Less time consumption means, now if you press remote now, it was not working earlier. So if I press now and if it is responding after 2 hours, are you going to use that remote? No, right? So similar was the case there. So they wanted to have something which will run faster. So if I press now, immediately it should execute. So less time consumption. So I need to have less time. So you need to have, now you tell me, all these are possible. You need less memory consumption, less power consumption, and less time consumption also. Then all of these are possible with less number of instructions. So you should not write lot of code. With small instruction also you should be able to achieve all this. So they wanted to have these, so that whatever the program you are going to write, and after that you will develop some software. So that software should take less memory, less power, and less time, and less number of instructions. That was their agenda. And there was one last agenda they had. The software should be platform independent, means that software should run on all of the devices. So what is the device? You should be able to run that. So that was their software agenda. You are able to understand? So they had this agenda in mind that whatever the softwares you are going to develop with the help of Java will take less memory consumption, will have less time consumption and less power, and will have less number of instructions also. So this was their agenda. And what was their target audience? These electronic devices consumer industry. So they had targeted them nicely, right? So what was the target audience of the Java? Target was electronic consumer devices. So now also if you install Java, they will say that Java is running on 3 billion devices, 4 billion devices. If you see that, that is the reason they say. So if you see Oracle Java, now why I am talking about Oracle Java, because Sun Microsystem was acquired by Oracle, and Oracle is the now owner of Java. Now their products, if you see here, Java is their product. Now what they say, Java is a number one platform or a programming language for the software development. It is the number one. So they will say that Java is running on multiple devices. This is Java 20 was the latest release. Java 20 is now available. Now they have produced lot of new features that they have just provided list of new features. And he was the guy, director Sharad Chandler. So he is the director of that Java SE development. So he has very smart guy. Okay. So you understood overall now what is Java is going to help you. So tomorrow we'll understand why Java is so popular. What is the reason that everyone wants to use Java? Why a lot of banks are using Java? What are the features that Java provides that is setting this aside from other programming languages? So what all softwares we can develop with the help of Java? So Java, you understood that using Java we are going to develop programs and softwares. Now what are the softwares you develop using Java? They will need less memory, they will need less number of instructions, they will need less time for the execution, and they are very faster, right? And they are secure also. So how Java is useful for you guys as a career also, and as a for the company also, and as a software also, how it is, because there is a lot of demand, there is a lot of demand for Java developers, because there is a lot of software development happening. It was happening also and it is happening now also, and it will continue that way. That's the reason, if there is demand, so you guys are like having more chance to get into that Java development industry, right? Okay, I think that is sufficient for Java. Tomorrow we'll see why we are using Java, what is so special about Java, what are the things we can learn about Java, how Java is separating from other programming languages, that we will see tomorrow. Tomorrow we will also see what are the different types of softwares Java can develop, what are the different types of softwares are there in the industry that Java can help you to develop. That all we will see tomorrow. Any questions online? Yes, this recording is done now. I will share recording also.